She got a phone alert about yesterday's weather, and she got a phone call about what happened to her building. The victim was found buried alive, not in a grave, but under a cover of rocks and debris. There would be no story if it wasn't for this. A portable DVR he installed in his car that got an audio recording of the suspect's voices. We first arrived here about 20 minutes ago. There was a haze of smoke in the air. Firefighters say those flames were about 20 to 30 feet high. To get an idea of the power of last night's flash flood, this used to be part of Mark Melvin's front yard. Bits of vinyl siding ripped from this house from those winds, and it was actually the strength of the same winds that toppled over this shed. A dozen of these flyers advertising the KKK. All of them are in plastic bags weighted down with a marble so they won't be affected by the wind.
Fire that killed a mother and 8 of her children was started by an electric baseboard heater in a bedroom.
Investigators say it caught something combustible on fire. The flames spread quickly through the home where a father and daughter were able to escape. Adam Yosim has more in tonight's LEX 18 Big Story at 6.
There's the tape, the troopers, the trucks, and the toys. That's what gets to you, the toys. Yellow Tonkas, red and pink bikes, one with a tire melted by the overnight fire that consumed the innocence of this small rural home.
Hard to believe it. Those little red-headed boys won't be there anymore.
Next door neighbor Clarence Humphrey still processing what he saw this morning. He woke to the sound of sirens, followed by the sight of flames shooting through the Watson family's roof around 2 this morning.
Unbelievable that something like that could happen to a whole family. And everyone just had to stand and watch.
There was nothing he or anyone could do, Humphrey said, to save the mother, Lorraine Watson, and 8 of her 9 kids. Madison, Caitlin, Morgan, Emily, Samuel, Reagan, and 4-year-old twins Mark and Nathaniel. The 9th child, Kylie, and her dad, Chad, the only survivors. They got out, telling first responders there were more inside. Investigators told us 8 of the victims were together in the same room. The 9th found 10 feet away.
We're talking about kids here. That's a bad situation.
It was the type of news that compelled Gary Dukes, who didn't know the family, to show up and pay his respects. The best part about a small community, Duke says, is its heart.
We're more of a family than we are neighbors.
Today, that heart is heavy, weighted down by the loss of a mother and her children, whom neighbors would normally see running up and down the street as they played with their toys. Covering the news in Muhlenberg County, Adam Yosim, LEX 18 News.
How far would you go to get out of a traffic ticket? For one Kentucky woman, the question is, how far across the country would you go to challenge it and win?
That's what Linda Farley's been doing for years in a minivan that's pretty hard to miss. LEX 18's Adam Yosim introduces us to this self-proclaimed smoking granny who has a message for America, one bumper sticker at a time.
In the sleepy town of Edmonton,
well, you can't tell from the stickers on it.
there is something that awakens the eyes.
You'll know when you see her come through.
But if you ask the person behind the wheel,
for too long, too many sheeple have not just stood up and said no.
she's trying to awaken your mind.
I would like our Constitution back.
If attitudes are contagious, Linda Farley considers this one big attitude that continues to go viral.
Might be the most photographed vehicle on the planet.
It's not hard to picture why.
Liberate the People's Republics of America. It's spelled with a K. That's a reference to the communist version of America.
Before this became the Liberty Van, it was just a van. Then in 2005, outside Chicago, the self-proclaimed smoking granny took issue with the city's smoking ban.
Painted on the back window, smokers not wanted in Chicago, boycott Illinois.
9 years later,
well, she had 57,000 miles on her when I started this.
Linda Farley has been far and wide across the nation's landscape.
She's got 398,000 now.
Doing her part to change the political landscape.
This blonde lady come running up to me at the stoplight. Oh, I love you. I put this on my Facebook last night.
And not just one van, but 2.
I pasted signs all over it before I drove it off the new car lot and took it directly to Glasgow City Hall for a smoking ban meeting, actually.
She calls this the Freedom Van, and she calls that...
that did not come out of a Cracker Jack box.
The Big Eagle.
Yeah, look at them all tied down with all this junk, see? Corruption, communism, socialism.
Farley would be the first to tell you that freedom isn't free. Along this journey all these years, she's been pulled over and ticketed dozens of times.
I had to post a $2,500 bond and Kingwood, West Virginia, because I had a $100 ticket for pink Christmas lights.
She was on her way to fight a green Christmas lights ticket.
I don't know what they're doing to actual criminals in Kingwood, West Virginia. They're very hard on grandmothers from Kentucky with Christmas lights on a minivan.
In D.C., Farley got in trouble for books on her dashboard.
My new autographed copy of Rand Paul's Government Bullying. The traffic on LibertyVan.com tripled for 3 weeks after I posted the pictures of that.
It's all fun and games, Farley says, until someone gets hurt.
And I pray that nobody gets killed now or 5 years from now by a habitual speeder or drunk driver who did not get stopped because they were busy with me.
Farley plans on keeping those officers busy. No time, she says, for either her van or her mind to stay idle.
2 Corinthians 3:17, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. That kind of sums up every bit of this.
Covering the news in Metcalfe County, Adam Yosim, LEX 18 News.
New surveillance video just into our newsroom shows the sinkhole that damaged 8 of the Corvettes. The museum says they got a call from their security company around 5:45 about motion sensors going off. Adam Yosim has more in the LEX 18 big story at 6.
This would stop traffic, even in Los Angeles.
What a beautiful car, huh?
2 Corvette enthusiasts.
Look at that. That interior's come a long way.
Who came a long way across America to marvel at America's sports car. But of all days to come to the Corvette Museum,
Like a fighter jet, kind of like a snug sports car.
John Anderson and his father,
The machined carbon fiber roof panel
both got some bad news.
and the spoiler.
More like a spoiler alert that gave Gary Dempsey a sinking feeling.
This morning, when we were watching the news,
A 5 Corvette owner who came down from Wisconsin to pick up his 6th one. He won in a raffle.
yeah, we better get it out now while it's still here.
Sad, the Corvettes. So you can't really see much.
Western Kentucky University geology professor Jason Polk getting swallowed up by the media, asking him about the sinkhole that swallowed up 8 of the 25 Corvettes in the Sky Dome before 6 this morning.
There's no need for panic or any indication that there's any other causes or issues.
Sinkholes aren't uncommon in Kentucky's cave country, but this one was the museum's first.
It's depressing, to say the least.
Among the damage, the 1,000th Corvette, the 40th anniversary Ruby Red, the 62 Black. And then there's the car that wasn't in the sinkhole, the 83 Corvette, the only one of its kind, the only one so far recovered.
Well, that's good news because I know people here are really upset and very emotional.
The hole in the hearts of these Corvette enthusiasts partially mended by the fact that those 8 irreplaceable cars are repairable.
Oh, fabulous.
News that's as sweet as the apple pie, that's as much of an American symbol as the Corvette. Covering the news in Bowling Green, Adam Yosim, LEX 18 News.
Whether it was Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes throwing barbs at Senator Mitch McConnell or the Senate Minority Leader leaving the stage before all the speakers finished, there was plenty of theatrics for the political crowd. LEX 18's Adam Yosim has more from Graves County.
Once a year, this humble hamlet swells in size. They come for the cue.
3 pounds of pork.
And the battle of red versus blue. After the pork and mutton,
excuse me just 1 minute,
comes the politicking and mudslinging.
Had to get one last photo of the senator before Kentucky voters retire him in November.
What has become the real meat and potatoes of the fancy farm picnic.
Mitch McConnell, he's been in Washington, D.C. so long, he thinks Duke's in Kentucky and Clover licks not.
First, it was Senate candidate Allison Lundergan Grimes using basketball and pop culture.
If Mitch McConnell were a TV show, he'd be Mad Men.
To paint Senator Mitch McConnell as out of touch.
Treating women unfairly, stuck in 1968 and ending this season.
This is the place where Republicans tell it like it is.
The Senate Minority Leader only once mentioned his opponent by name, telling the crowd America's real opponent,
He's taking more selfies than Flat Stanley,
is in the White House.
Change the Senate and make me the leader of a new majority to take America in a different direction.
Along with Team Mitch and Team Switch,
my name is Gil Fulbright,
was Team Rich, a fake candidate with a real purpose, ending corruption in politics.
Some lucky politician out there is going to sell out the people of Kentucky. Gil Fulbright wants to be that guy.
An assortment of announcements.
I will be a candidate for governor in 2015.
And plenty of political theater.
So she flew to L.A. for a Hollywood bash She came home in a flash with buckets of cash.
For a crowd that came to watch a snippet of what's expected to be one of the most expensive Senate races in history, and what the MC called the largest crowd in Fancy Farm history, a political picnic that causes the county size to swell and causes Kentuckians to swell with pride. Covering the news in Graves County, Adam Yosim, LEX 18 News.